TCIG Spaces Highlights May 2025 Part 1.
History was made yesterday. New Hampshire is the first to make it all the way through, signing their policy for strategic Bitcoin reserve. It says to allocate 5% of their state funds to, it doesn't say to Bitcoin. Well, it does, because it's called a strategic Bitcoin reserve, but it said to any crypto that is over 500 billion in market cap, which Bitcoin is the only one. Ethereum's scraping right underneath that right now, about 490 billion. So you can almost guarantee that by the time it goes into law, which is 60 days from yesterday, so July 6th, that'll be the first bill to go into law on a state level, the HB 302. Today is Pectra Day. The Pectra upgrade went live 6:30 or so this morning, and it is long awaited. It was slated for late 2024, and then it was for March 2025, and then it was pushed to April 25th, and now today, we finally made it. These are 15 key developments coming for Ethereum. The EIP 7938 is a gas limit increase. They are trying to obviously scale Ethereum because for a long time it was at 15 transactions per second, which lags the majority of the crypto ecosystem. They are looking to scale Ethereum to 10,000 transactions per second by 2026, that's what I saw. And they're looking to increase the gas limit by 100 times. Number 2 is about grayscale and ETF staking. Number 2 and number 6. So number 2 and number 6 both talk about Ethereum staking. That's just within ETFs. We're probably going to see an ETF for a lot of crypto. You're going to be able to stake within the ETF. It's going to just be able to push functionalities. It will be the first ETFs to be able to do staking within them, Grayscale and VanEck. Number 3 talks about Vitalik's plan about making Ethereum more simple, like Bitcoin, because it is quite complex, and I could just imagine from his standpoint of what he knows about it, how complex it really is. Being able to use it, it's going to boost usability, and it is a good idea to handle the complexity at the L2 level and then make the L1 level more simplistic, and it'll reduce bugs and be easier to understand and maintain because it's all about longevity. So once he goes off and he does something else, or he dies off, or whatever happens to the world, someone else, be able to maintain these systems, and it's a good idea to make them more simple so more humans could understand it. Number 4 is about interoperability with new token standards, having them more at a human readable layer to streamline composability between chains. Number 5 is about UX overhaul, having a unified address format across various blockchains, and that'll also help the simplicity of what they're trying to achieve. Number 7 talks about Ethereum adoption with BlackRock and BNY Mellon with their DLT, distributed ledger technology. They are tokenizing a $150 billion treasury fund, and all this stuff is just the beginning. BNY Mellon is the oldest standing bank, or the second oldest standing bank in the world. We hate banks, but gotta deal with them for a little bit longer, and they're going to be able to custody crypto and hold crypto for clients, and they basically dropped all of the barriers. Number 8 talks about FIFA, largest soccer association in the world. They have an NFT launch coming on Ethereum. The migration is happening May 20th. Number 9 talks about all core devs execution. They have these meetings every once in a while, ACDE. This was number 210 on April 24th. Talking about the progress of EIP 4844. It's about proto dank sharding. Basically breaks down transactions into smaller pieces so they can be processed quicker. Number 10 talks about Ethereum's future vision, about empowering the community and fostering innovation, being more of a vocal group. They've been pretty silent for a good reason for the last 10 years because they've been largely overshadowed by Bitcoin, and I can understand why they haven't had more of a voice in the space, but times are changing. Number 11, the Ethereum Foundation board announcement. They have a new management board to oversee operations. A lot of people could say that, there's no CEO to Bitcoin. The whole world needs to get on chain, so we need people involved. You can't just run everything on Bitcoin. You just can't. People who really understand the space understand the value of Ethereum and what it's brought to the on-chain ecosystem. Number 12 talks about the Ethereum Foundation's next chapter and their commitment to the core infrastructure with decentralized governance. Again, not having a CEO. People just think that Vitalik can make a decision and it happens, but this all happens democratically with on-chain voting, and really the only voting that is real and true to form. Number 14 talks about Alibaba and their Ethereum L2 solution for blockchain adoption. There's been a lot of announcements about Amazon as well. Just these two alone are the largest commerce giants in the world. Alibaba, they are the world's largest online and mobile commerce company out of China. And Amazon has more of a widespread reach, but Alibaba is right next to them. They have over 1 billion annual active customers. They are looking to boost the efficiency and scalability for institutional participation and liquidity. And this just starts the train of Fortune 500 companies that are going to look for blockchain adoption and solutions. 15. The last one, or the second last one, talks about institutional tokenization. BlackRock, like I said, the 150 billion fund. Telegram, they're looking to tokenize 500 million in debt. And Multibank is doing a $3 billion real estate deal in Dubai. And then tokenized assets could represent up to 30% of global finance by 2030. I think that is low. If you want to keep up on Ethereum adoption, I posted about this a few times. There's a website, ethereum.adoption.com. ethereum.adoption.com. Check it out. For all those Ethereum haters out there, check it out. Check it out. ethereum.adoption.com. Google Wallet adds blockchain tech with ZK proofs for age and ID verification. This is the beginning of the decentralized identity era, and I'm so glad we made it here. And the only way we did was with Ethereum. First rollouts are in the UK and the US, expanding to more than 50 countries. People see this and they're like, oh, wow, cool. But Google, I mean, you're talking about basically all of the world's information. Google has collected all of the information in the past multiple decades, and that's how we have gotten to develop AI and machine learning systems. You know, all of the world's information. And we'll be able to share information with ZK proofs without the other side knowing any information about the origin. And that is the beauty of cryptography. Alright, just some things on Pectra specifically. This is the 16th upgrade of the sequence. But there's a chart from Cointelegraph that goes over all of the EIPs that are in Pectra. So the merge in 2022 was for the protocol, and now Pectra is for the people. So Pectra makes Ethereum a more modern network. It makes it easier and smarter. With fewer clicks, you can sign actions that takes less time. It makes all of the wallets smart wallets. If you haven't seen a smart wallet or worked with a smart wallet, it makes things a lot easier. Mainly done with either a fingerprint or biometrics instead of, email and password or your keys. So smart wallets, it's not just holding keys, it acts like a smart contract. And you can batch transactions, you can skip approval pop-ups, you can pay gas in any token, and then there's cheaper transactions. There's more blobs. There's more scaling for L2s, which we definitely need. Everyone's using L2s. As far as Ethereum, there's not a lot of people that are building on the base chain, and that comes straight from our good friend Clark. There's lower costs, there's a lot less congestion, and this is going to help for mainstream adoption. And there's cleaner staking, so it raises the validator cap from 32 ETH to 2,048, and it makes smart contract enabled withdrawals. It has no deposit delays. As far as like the validator staking limits, it's really more for like institutions, and so they have less moving pieces, less validators. Ethereum has over 1 million validators already. Some things about the list of EIPs. 2537 is about zero knowledge technology becoming faster and more scalable. Violet talked about the transition to RISC-V. This one says L2 should build where Ethereum is going, not where it's been. The proposal to transition to the RISC-V is something they have been preparing for, and it'll be a new era of the Ethereum virtual machine. 2935 is moving towards stateless, which is how nodes aren't going to hoard every single thing. That apps can reference old data. The hashes will be in stateless mode. 6110 talks about the validator deposits on chain. It takes the activation from 12 hours to 13 minutes. The 7251 is the one that raises the staking balance cap. Not only raising it from the 32 to the 2048, but it also brings 1.5% APR to validators. And fewer validators will be needed per user. So when you make transactions, it'll take less validators. 7549 streamlines validator voting. So it groups signatures together with unchanged security. It cuts down on the amount of work it takes to have these votes for validators, about 60 times less work. 7685 is about general execution layer requests, so there's easier future upgrades from communication between the execution layer and the consensus layer. 7691 is about the blobs. So blobs are big data chunks that are used by rollups, and they get added to blocks. And the blob increase is from 3 to 6, so every single transaction will have 6 blobs to it, where rollups can add data to these blocks that get confirmed. And that helps the throughput in TPS. Probably the most important one is the 7702 EOA account code. That's the batching of multiple actions into one transaction. And it has gas sponsorship, so someone can sponsor to pay for the gas. And they say it's like the iPhone moment for wallets. And then 7840 has blob scheduling, so you can schedule blobs ahead of time. So overall, there's 3 main things to look for, is that you can pay gas fees with more than ETH with account abstraction, the validator limit that I've talked about for institutions, and then more efficient data handling, which introduces Verkle trees. Stripe, the payment processor, they have officially launched a stablecoin product in 101 new countries, where users could store stables and send and receive in USD/euros over ACH, Wire, etc. Another one on Ethereum. We are working on another blog. Our next Crypto Coin Cases extended series blog will cover the Significant Six, it's going to be called. Solana, Polygon, Doge, SHIB, Cardano, and XRP. We're also working on a new series that'll cover all of the Crypto Coin Cases. They're going to be in short video clips for both the YouTube and TikTok. It's going to be called Couple Minute Crypto Coin Cases Mania. So in a couple minutes, we're going to cover a couple of important things on each coin. The Crypto Coin Cases is pretty brief as far as what the top use cases and some other important information. That'll be on every single one. So 21 in Crypto Coin Cases 1 and 8 in Crypto Coin Cases 2. So for right now, we're looking at 29 short video clips that'll, in sequence, come out. If you click on this post, I replied to Julian saying, great, not sure why that's a point to make. We need more people posting about it, not just quietly benefiting. And I truly believe this, because he posts this thing: plumbers, gym owners, real estate developers, roofing companies. What do you do? These are the types of businesses that we onboarded to Bitcoin in May. Good job. That's great. The more people with Bitcoin, the better. But then just the fact that someone as influential as he is out of Switzerland saying they're not posting about it on social media, they're just quietly stacking. I don't vibe with this. Like, I completely disagree with this. Like, why do you have to promote people not posting about it on social media and just quietly doing it? I'm really over a lot of the narratives that are out there. Why do we want to just quietly do this? We need to be loud. We need to get this word out to more people. Only 7% of the world's population owns crypto, and crypto is economic freedom. So why wouldn't you want to be loud? Why wouldn't you want to spread the word of economic freedom? I posted very loudly on his LinkedIn post about it too, and someone wanted to clap back saying, oh, well, what if you are trying to tell people about it, but no one wants to hear it? And I said, you're talking to the choir, because that is my daily life, that here I am trying to get the word out to people, and I've been largely ignored. Feel very invisible, and like nobody cares. And there's a lot of reasons to care. More people need to care. More people need to care that it's not just about the money. And that is a narrative that I've also tried to be very vocal about, is that there's a very small percentage of the people who look at the bigger picture, and there's a large percentage of the people in crypto that are just like, I want a Lambo, and I'm just here to make money, and I'm just going to sit back and, be anon. And there's a lot of anonymous people out there that are just sitting behind their computer screen waiting for it to go up so they can go have their next vacation or get their next car or get their next whatever materialistic thing that you don't need. So I promote a lot of less consumption, less waste, less travel, less of everything. There are 1.5 billion people in the world who are unbanked and have no access to financial services. And you could be like, oh, well, who cares? But like, we all live on the same floating rock. And it's really sad that everyone out there is for themselves. Like, how about helping other people? How about if someone doesn't want to listen to you, like a boomer, like the majority, almost all of the boomers don't want to hear anybody in crypto talk about crypto. But it's so much more than a vehicle of economic freedom, of cross-border payments, of a global standard, of efficiency, of cost effectiveness, performance. The list goes on. But above all of that, we need to open people's eyes and ears to the waste, the enormous waste behind any physical fiat. I cannot believe that still today, and I know I'm early on a lot of things in my life, but like this is something I'm very passionate about, that we need to, as a whole, the world, every single country out there needs to open their eyes and ears about the waste of physical fiat. Think about, I've made many posts on this, think about the waste in materials that once the Federal Reserve just decides to cut rates, the money printer just turns up a notch and then you're just printing more money. This is why I am so behind Coinbase, because they are on the right track. They promote economic freedom and they see the waste in life. You see these two videos comparing Bitcoin or crypto to the US dollar. 26,000 shipping containers. Just watch the video. It's so simple. And they do a great job on making things very simple to open people's eyes. And people still don't care. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of shipping containers full of wasteful paper. Materials that are only from the planet. All of our resources we only get from the planet itself. So all of this waste, you go to Argentina and there's piles of their fiat sitting on the side of the street because of how bad it has been devalued. And really that's like the entire world, because the dollar is the world reserve currency right now, which will be replaced by Bitcoin. But it has lost, can anyone hear me? Like, it has lost 99% of its value in the last century. 99% lost, gone. And you lose 7 to 10% in inflation every single year. The only way to hold your purchasing power is in crypto. The only thing on the planet to hold your purchasing power is crypto. So I'm very, very, very against the way he poses this, that you should not spend your time posting about you stacking Bitcoin. You should just do it quietly. I think more people need to be charged up and to speak up against the tyranny that we live with every single day of our lives. And I live in the freest country in the world here in the United States, and most of you do too. But no one wants to look at, what other people go through, what other human beings that live on this planet that are born into authoritarian regimes. There's a big majority of the population of the planet who is born under dictators. The world is a lot more unfair than you think, and we are just pawns on their chessboard, and it needs to end. And it ends with decentralization. It ends with crypto. It is the first time in history that we will be able to unite as human beings against the centralized monsters.
Hop on the train and get on chain. Let's cut out all the noise and build together.